Okay. Okay. Ooh. Kind of sounds like I'm in a cave somewhere. Okay. Okay, that's better. That's better. Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome to the second part. We're at the birdhouse. I'm not going to say anything about the birdhouse because Henk is going to do that. Just for those who haven't heard yet, we're at like the border between the city of Antwerp and the harbor. So it's still the city, obviously. But you can see this is an old building where harbor or related business used to be. And then now where all these expensive apartments are, there used to be harbor. And then if you look down there, well, you can see some old cranes here. There's a nuclear power plant. Don't worry, it's old. There's the river running through there. So, and actually the most magnificent building of Antwerp, I think, after the cathedral maybe for the real Antwerp people, is the Harbor House. And maybe when we go back, we'll try and make a small detour. If you want to look it up, look up Havenhuis Zaha Hadid and on Google and you'll find it. Then you're sure that it's you've seen it. Okay, so, but without further ado, Henk, the word is yours.
Thank you. I hope this works. Is this our clicker? It's a bit shaky, I know. Otherwise, I'll just use the buttons. Okay, this should be better. Okay, thank you all for coming to the birdhouse. So it's great to have an international audience with us today. What is the birdhouse? So my name is Henk, by the way. I'm CEO at the birdhouse since July last year. That's exactly what I meant. Just a second. So, this is the main slide. I'll just keep my story a bit short. So what is a birdhouse? We are actually an accelerator. There's a big difference between an incubator and an accelerator. And an incubator will pick up new ideas, new companies that are very in the early stage of their lifetime. An accelerator is more focused on startups who have already a team, a minimum viable product, who have already some basic funding, and so on. So that's what we do. We accelerate those companies and we select them for a 6-month program. So that's what we do. We launched in May 2016, so almost 2 years ago. In 1.5 years time, we accelerated 37 startups. How do we do that? We offer them mentorship. So we have about 35, 40 captains of industry who are connected to our company. Every startup will see their mentor at least twice a month, and these mentors will help them to accelerate, to fine-tune their product offering, to fine-tune their value proposition, to access a broader market, and so on. So we are really aiming at accelerating these companies. Next to that, we also have a very big network of business angels, venture capitalists who are connected to the birdhouse. We also have experts coming from our partners. One of our main partners is Belfius. It's one of the biggest Belgian banks. And these experts will offer training to our startups in the program. Yeah. And we also have access to funding, actually. So Belfius offers them, of course, the basic finance products that are available in the market, like bank loans and so on. And Belfius, since a few months, already also raised €10 million capital to invest in our startups. Yeah. And we also offer our startups office space. So we have one office. This is our big office here in Antwerp. And we also have an office in Ghent. We actually started in Ghent and we moved to Antwerp. We also started in Antwerp about 1 year ago. Yeah. So what does our program look like? If you can go back. Yeah, so we have a 6-month program. For instance, the current program started end of February. We offer them workshops on vision strategy, focus on the customer, sales, legal stuff, raising capital, growing, hiring a team, and for the end of August, we will be aiming at a pitch perfect startup, a startup who can offer the perfect pitch to possible investors. That's the biggest goal at the end of the program. So we started as I said, in 2016. The first call we called it a call. It's a campaign actually to recruit these startups that generated 165 applications. The last call was really a big explosion. We had 857 applications, of which we selected only 15 startups who are selected for the program. So the selection process is really heavy. Our standards are very high. Okay, so what does that mean for them? Just to give you an example, for the results of 1 year of our alumni, they have a total revenue of 4.4 million euros. They raised 4.4 million euros in funding, and they have an average seed valuation of 1.8 million, which is quite good. And also about half of the funding is done by our own business angel network. Yeah. So what do? We have lead mentors and experts who offer assistance to these startups. Next to our accelerator program, we are also an event machine. These are a few examples of our events. For instance, about a month ago, we had a big event about funding in Ghent. We offer bootstrapping events, bootstrapping your ways to success, build a great team and execute big. These are just a few examples. So about one event per month keeps us very busy, of course. That's it about the birdhouse. I will be available during the break if you have any questions about what we do. Feel free to contact me. And if you want more information, that's our website and our Facebook page. Thank you.
Okay. So next up is Monika from Poland, who will tell us more about her experiences with incubators.
Yes.
Please.
Good.
Please.
How can I use it? Because it's technologies. Okay.
Next first.
The technology in technology, the technology is quite strong. So, welcome everybody. Today I will be speaking about our mission, like a Warsaw University Incubator, more based on educational, more based on mentoring and learning the competences, reaching some motivation under the university staff. Before I starting my presentation, I would like to introduce myself because it's not the typical situation where I'm here. Last 12 years, I was working in, I think, the biggest bank in the world, in the city. I was creator of the first R&D, banking R&D in Poland. A few years ago, I decided to move my bank and starting doing the business with the startups because my mission, I think, will be the working with them very closely. So that's why I'm also decided to go to the university to destroy the walls between the business and the education. How we understand, maybe one thing more, because I'm introduce myself. I also would like to introduce my university because the Warsaw University, I think, is in Poland is the most extended university in Poland. Every year we are just hiring around 50,000 students. More of them there are humanists, so the market trends going to the technology, I think, going up on the next level of the education. So our expectation and our role as a new incubator in university, I think, was concentrating last year was concentrating on the technology leverage our students, how to pick up the new jobs, how to create the startups, how to create the entrepreneurial skills to give them the power to go outside of the university and being hired by the huge corporation, or have a knowledge and skills for building their startups. In Poland, we have, I think, the private phase of the ecosystem, and public, I think, on the whole world is quite more the same. The private actors give us the technology push, the market pull, the founding, demand side is a typical. But the public actors' faces is an innovation push because they are creating some ecosystem. They are trying to build some supportive policy incentives to create the economies and the ecosystem of the before the innovation right now, working on the startups. We are multidisciplinary focus oriented because we have spaces on the university which gave our students for co-working or cooperative. We also offer them the education and incubation part of our basic works, and also we also cooperate with accelerator and funds where they can find. Our community based on very specific needs. So we have 95% of our students, they are humanists. Some kind of them, they are IT people. They are working on the sociology. Sorry. They are also have some skills working with the managerial, physics, biotechnology, medicines. It is a mix of the really oriented different kind of targeted groups. We try to build the competences and skills to get them the competences for creating some startup environmental. How can we do it? Most of our activity based on the first floor, where we are looking and creating some kind of inspiration for them. And I think that the mission of the university incubation is based just on this level. Some kind of these people have some kind of ideas, but most of them just looking for the right way to go outside of the university. When they are finished it, they would like to be ready for startupping or for being a good employer for companies. Some of them have a business plan. We are creating also we are involved in this third steps where they prepare the business plan and also develop them the company with our accelerator. What is the activities? The university, the Warsaw University have many activities which support them under the building the startup ecosystems. We have a cooperation with our city. We have also some kind of digital economy lab, careers offices, technology transfer, the accelerator, the incubator, the educational facilities, which I think is our main pillar. But as I said on the first sentence, our main discipline where we are working right now, it was the technology, and we are concentrated, as you can see on these startups, mainly on the medicine, IT, technology. We want to change the mindset of these people, especially with our students, because as I said, 95% of them, they are humanists. So when they are leaving the university, they have a really huge challenge for finding the right way for the technology technology in the technology world. So right now we are preparing the activities which they will be that our student will be involved. It calls the humanist in the new technology. So we want to involve our humanists in the technology transfer to find them the right place in the technology world outside the university. We are building the competences with them, also with some huge company which based on the technology transfer, like Microsoft, consulting, big consulting companies, where we have a special accelerator, incubator and accelerator program dedicated to the humanist. And I would like to involve you and also find some solution and to get a knowledge how the humanist should be treated in the new world, because I think the solution for the technology, for the programs, for the technology people is easy than the humanists and other sciences which is still available on the market. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Monica. Next, we're going back to Italy, I think. No. Okay, Anna, working about talking. Yes, it's the co-working space with the babies.
Exactly.
Okay, well, if you wonder about co-working spaces with babies, you'll learn all about it.
Okay, I need to keep my note with me because I need to say many things and I'm sure I'm going to forget something if I don't use this. So it's just to press this?
Yeah,
Should I press this?
click to the next slide.
Okay, so my name is Anna and I'm one of the 3 co-founders of Spazio Costanza. Maybe, of course, some of you already know already have some information about what we do, but for those who don't, I explain you that we are a co-working space where we actually find a special target. As Spazio Costanza decided to create an atmosphere that was like a second home for people who could come and use this space together with their kids, with their babies actually. Because we reserved an infant and baby care area, provided with also an educator that takes care of the babies while their moms or dads, but especially moms, are working in another room. And of course it's an office technologically equipped and functional for any kind of job. So at the beginning, about 2 years ago, it was just 3 women, Maria, Michele and I, who decided to invest our own money, time and energy in this startup project, being able to count only on our resources, unfortunately. Actually, we applied for some fund. We wrote a project, but we didn't win that fund, but we actually decided that it was the right project and we had to go on apart from this. But immediately, of course, we understood that in order to be sustainable, we needed to create tailor-made services on our users' needs, and vice versa, to create tailor-made potential market for those who were already our users, our co-workers. Afterwards, in a few minutes, I will going to explain you this better. But in the meantime, I need to introduce you also our space, because it physically has to have special characteristics. To reach our objectives, we needed to have this physical space where different areas were present, all separate but still connected to each other, in order to facilitate communication, at the same time also preserving privacy and concentration. Of course, you can imagine when you have babies in another room, it's not very easy to concentrate. So we needed to have this environment a bit separate but still connected. So each area has its own characteristics related to the target group it is mainly addressed to. That can be children or adults in the case of co-workers. But they have all been furnished and decorated in order to guarantee easy changes and the big variety of services that can take place in each of them. We like to say 250 square meters for 250 different activities that can take place there. So, going back to what I was saying before, as we had in mind to dedicate our space mainly to moms and dads, co-workers with babies or children, thus we first investigated which could be the secondary services to provide them with, besides renting just a desk or a private office. And we individuated the following main fields of intervention that are individual psychological therapies for adults and children, individual and group training courses, educational and professional guidance paths, parenting support, of course, legal advice, therapeutic laboratories for children, because unfortunately there are also problematic situations that attend our space, extra school support, BES and DSA tutors, speech therapy, neuropsychomotricity, physiotherapy, osteopathy and dietology. This means that these figures representing these professions are the fixed co-workers that use our space. So they are always available for all the other users that come just for a short period to our space. So our fields of intervention, as I said, are those I mentioned before, but on this purpose, on one end, we put together a multidisciplinary working group that can provide a professional response to all the above-mentioned area of intervention, individually or as a team, after having developed an intervention plan, which is a personalized response to a specific request or need. Such response can be given with also within a psycho-solidarity center. I think it's the first one. We don't know of any other, at least in the field of co-working, so of course, which consists in proportioning tariffs by our professionals of their services provided to the users' earnings. On the other hand, the same professionals taking part to the multidisciplinary working team are freelancers themselves who believe in the high potential of a space where lots of services are provided around the same target group, as it guarantees a constant exchange of competencies, information, proposals, and people at a much more affordable price than a private office would allow to. For the members of the multidisciplinary team, other temporary co-workers, but also for professionals that come from outside our net, Spazio Costanza serves also as an incubator, we say, of their micro-project, especially in the field of social innovation. In the sense that we support in their creation, launch and development of following these steps that are analysis of the proposal, of course, development of their skills, so recognizing their value, specificity and limits of the professional figures involved to identify the complementary skills needed, that most of the time are can be found inside the multidisciplinary team itself, creation of a work team, and targeting an integrated intervention methodology at the right strategy to launch the service. As not all the people that come to us in this sense have clear ideas on their talents, interests, and their real existing opportunities, then some of our professionals, which are counselors and tutors, and they work as mentors, working in our multidisciplinary team to provide them with a service of education and professional orientation, helping them make a conscious choice. So we can have programs for individuals outgoing from situations of socioeconomic and psychological distress, like abused women, monoparental families, migrants, but also programs for companies to manage the post-maternity periods of their employees, like handling their soft skills, handling a role replacement, enhancement, and empowerment of women's talents. At the beginning of my intervention, I was saying that we tried to find and to create an atmosphere that was feeling like a second home, because we think that when we need to be productive, we also need to be happy and to feel that we are confident with the space where we spend most of our time during the day. So we firmly believe also that nobody can live exclusively of his job. Then we put together around our main purpose, that is to say, of course, creating an environment to facilitate co-workers' business. We created also flexible services to encourage their personal growth from a human, professional, cultural, and social point of view, and for the well-being of their families. In this sense, we provide our users with a training center and parental support, well-being and free time activities, and the space for aggregation, cultural promotion, and awareness on social issues. So what's new about our project is this part, Costanza, Spazio Costanza for companies. Because what we are now verifying is that all these services we provided for single users are actually and absolutely applicable also to companies and their employees, as it can represent an integrated system for the company, of non-monetary services that allows to improve the company's productivity and the employees' well-being at the same time by increasing their spending power and bettering their working and private life. What is emerging from the Italian social context is in fact that the services considered most interesting by employees are flexibility of working hours and organization, services for children, personal services, job orientation services, assistance to family members, children, the elderly, and those who are not self-sufficient, that are all services that we already provided. So this is how the co-working formula can be interpreted as a new option of a sort of smart working offered by the companies, in the sense that it is not a business benefit for the company, but a flexible way of subordinate work offered to their employees. An organizational approach that aims to combine flexibility, autonomy, and collaboration, taking advantage of new technologies and tools to create fluid and widespread working environments. It loses the concept of a workplace, putting the workers themselves at the center with their competencies, their creativity, and the ability to self-organize themselves. And it is an evolution of the teleworking, so the opportunity of working, staying at home, to which a technological endowment so far unthinkable has been added. I need to say that we have been riding on a favorable economic regulatory context in Italy, at least, which at the moment consists in qualifying all these kind of services and having to invest much money for the welfare of employees. So it happens that non-monetary benefits with zero taxes for the company and more purchasing power for the worker. Flexible and personalized services, the work-life balance and maternity support in 2016 increased from the 22% to the 31%. Corporate welfare goes on budget. Work-life balance is the secret of high-performance teams, sustainability, survival, and the right value of life. There are already good consolidated practices in big companies like Google, Humana, IBM, Eli Lilly, and Hilton. Work-life balance direct relationship with satisfaction and loyalty has been demonstrated. And the Budget Law 2017 enhances company welfare for employees in the private sector. So we've been very lucky. The following are the advantages for the employees to work in a solution like the one we offer, and that we hope that some other will follow us in this sense. So better lifetime relationship, individual and family well-being, optimization of time management, increase in real remuneration, increase of purchasing power, satisfaction and higher yield, stress reduction. And at the same time, there are lots of advantages also for the company. more loyalty of workers, reduction of costs of incentive policies, growth of market shares and increase in revenue, increased productivity and efficiency, reducing the rate of absenteeism, turnover reduction, tax advantages, improvement of reputation both internally and on the territory, a positive impact on the business climate, retain the talents that are not leaving anymore, strengthening their sense of belonging and their involvement, attract talents, making the company quoted in the labor market. As we have just subscribed a convention with the famous fashion company Gucci about 2 weeks ago, it's too early to be able to speak of already reached results, but indeed we expect the following. To promote work-life balance through flexible benefit, a package in which every single worker can choose the benefit that best suits him, facilitating organizational innovation of companies, and support the economic and social development of the territory. We'll let you know. Of course, for what we created, our main target is women, is represented by women. And what does Spazio Costanza do actually for women? Just 1 second, too many. We started it from the following context, that is that the presence of women, of course related to Italy, to our country, the presence of women in the company increases performances both in terms of growth and profitability. The woman, in addition to the strategic vision that remains its main feature, dominates for attention to the quality of life at work, sharing objectives and seeking ad hoc solutions. Mothers, in particular, improve the problem-solving capacity of the work team, and their presence increases the company's reputation for the better. But unfortunately, what really happens is that 30% of employed women leave their jobs after pregnancy. The female employment rate is among the lowest in Europe, 46% versus a European average of 60%. 25% of women born after 1964 are unemployed because they decided to resign after becoming mothers. This is very crazy and really a pity. So we think that we have potentially found a possible solution to this, a co-working space with a baby care area, and the special attention to the parents' need, a space that combines workstations and babysitting services dedicated to moms and dads who can actively participate to the growth of their children. The results so far, having examined the current practice related to the mandatory maternity leave in Italy, which unfortunately implies the following: a social and professional isolation, sense of loss, identity shift, complexity of the dichotomy between mother and worker, difficulty in detachment from the child, logistical and temporal constraints, and the optional maternity leave, moving away from the company, stagnation of skills, lack of updates, fracture between employee and company, possible relocation of the company and not participated. We already achieved innovation with respect to the first one, to the mandatory maternity leave, by creating a place for sharing not only for working, soft skills and corporate reorganization, parenting support, redesign of life and relationships, gradual insertion of children, and offer of flexible services. While we are conversing now with these companies, we are starting working with on an alternative solution during the optional maternity leave. Who knows, perhaps a maternity leave at Spazio Costanza. We'll let you know. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The last one, Francesca. Welcome. We're going to be sporty to have the last presentation this afternoon. So if you want to stand up and move a bit, somebody was saying, yes. Well, and if you don't want to move, well, do something on your chair. And the presentation is about being sporty, I think. Well, kind of.
Gym of initiatives is quite similar. Okay. So it could be works in this way. Yes, but I'm in front of my presentation. Okay. One back. Allora, good afternoon to everybody. I'm Francesca, the last one. I'm a female entrepreneur because I'm a partner of a micro female entrepreneur enterprises, which is Euroteam Progetti. But also I'm a founder of a not-for-profit association, which is Vivaio per l'Intraprendenza, which means Nursery of Entrepreneurship. And I'm here once again to go back to university and the problem of engage, for example, students or graduates to be involved in incubators and in business plan training activities. We thought about the GMOV initiative in 2012 for the University of Florence, because at the time we had been working for the incubator, and they had asked us to scout new business ideas to increase the number of the incubator spin-offs, because the number was very low. There's a completely lack of business ideas. And we met many difficulties in finding people really interested in making business, or at least in assess the business option for their future. We try to understand why, and we conclude that we need to propose them a new kind of training activities, something that can before a business plan training activity, and which is a gym of initiative. So something when you simply have the purpose to spread entrepreneurial mindset, to motivate and engage graduates and researchers. And then can come maybe a business plan training activities or a process to incubate new business ideas. So we try only to work on entrepreneurial mindset, to foster entrepreneurial mindset. We propose gym because we were looking for something that remember young people the great effort that we were looking for a strong metaphor, we can say, for a strong symbol of what making business, successful business, I mean, needs. Great effort, daily hard work, try and try, maybe try and fail and try and succeed, final. So we propose them to practice entrepreneurial mindset, just like a sport, learning a technique by doing all together in a group, and follow a discipline, because you can think that a successful startup can simply falls down from the sky, but you have to you have to follow a strong discipline and work hard and empower your motivation. Initiative is the second key word because for us, according from our point of view, before becoming an expert in technical skills, I mean, for example, cost analysis or marketing strategies or something like this, you have to empower your motivation and your genuine spirit of initiative. So you have to cultivate, we can say, curiosity, creativity, problem solving, team building, your strong will to change the world, to do something new, to face risks, for example. You have to empower your attitude to face new changes, new challenges, new risks. So we choose two basic approach, action learning and design thinking, and we propose a 5 days full immersion training activity. You know, the name of every day reminds again the word of sport. Warm up, test your limits, speed up, spinning, and then action plan, perform. In the first day, we go slowly into business topic, very slowly. Of course, we ask them to get to know each other, to know the gym's rules, and then we start to speak about the business perspective, for example, and creativeness. Where do the ideas come from, the new ideas come from? We have to be genius, or we had other process, maybe? Just listening and focus on the need of the market, observing the world. Then we go straight into economical topics, we can say. So we speak about the environment, European market, local, national market, and the ecosystem, which work, local ecosystem, which, or European also, that works in support of business startup. And again, we ask them to generate a new idea, always using practical activity and using the power of the group, exchanging, interacting with the other. Then we start to speak about typical topics for business plan, just like the value proposition. We ask them who could be your potential clients for these ideas, potential competitors, and we ask them to start to design, in a rough version, of course, the entrepreneurial formula, the business models. So what, whom, who do you do it, how do you do it, to go on the 4th day into business model canvas. So we provide them, of course, the traditional tool, business model canvas, and we guide them to draw this formula, to draw the business model with the canvas, of course, and introduce the logic of business plan. But the Gym of Initiatives is not for teaching or training on business plan. It can be for. It has to be unusual, unconventional, more emotional and not rational and technical. And of course, we have to give them a picture about the bureaucracy and the requirements and the authorization. The last day, we ask them to write an action plan, just to fix the main important concept, and to assess, with the debriefing, to assess the experience, the change they achieved. Other elements, the old training activities have to include also physical moment and playground. We propose game, play, technique in any possible occasions. Even, for example, we propose physical activities, very short physical activities, after lunch, just like now, when we are tired, we had so much stuff for lunch, tasty stuff for lunch, and we are almost sleeping. We need to do something physical to wake up, to reactive. And always with group training. So something that open your mind, because stimulate your creativity and your emotional side, we can say. Fast prototyping is another example. We simply offer to them a box with different kinds of materials and ask them to fast prototype their business idea and present to the other, of course. This is play. This is game. We always involve external speaker. Of course, in the most cases, they were young entrepreneurs as testimonials, but also representative of the ecosystem, local ecosystem. And we take care about the space, because we would like to offer a space just like a gym. So we decorate the space with sport equipment, and we use the equipments to play, of course, in playground. So frisbee or little arrows or, how can I say, weights, basic. Okay, we use music at the beginning, at the end, during the break, the pause. We used to wear a t-shirt I mean, the 3 coaches, the 3 trainers, have the teachers, just like in a sport team. And we also ask them to use traditional training tools. So we ask them to keep track of the ideas, the main important concept, the suggestions on a notebook. We give them a notebook, each one, and we ask them to share the main important on a LinkedIn group. So we push the interaction between the participants also outside the time and the space of the Gym of Initiative. And we ask them to implement a wiki glossary, so select again and choose, and implement a sort of collective, we can say, training material. We work in this way for the University of Florence for 5 years, because we have to include the last one, 2016. And we involve a quite high number of students. We can say half and half, above all students of the last years or graduates, not researchers. I mean, and you know, women was almost 121, I remember, so quite half and half. And that's all. So I could finish in this way. If you want, I can just share with you few slides of the other presentation, but I don't know if it's too late, which is about the way, the methodology of Vivaio per l'intraprendenza for women. But I would like just to share maybe a few concepts, because if I can. Is the second one? This one. Okay. Perfetto, yes. Because this is our expertise. When we started in 2006, we work especially with a fragile profile of startup, so weak people, we can say, weak startup, weak beneficiaries, women, migrants, and young people. But I don't know if we can design a academic methodology, because according to me, there's no methodology except one. I observe our way of working. We always used to be flexible, very, very, very flexible. Unusual schedule. A beneficiary can call me early in the morning, late in the night, Monday, Sunday. Does not import. This is not important. Unusual venues. I can meet a beneficiary in the office, in a co-working, at her home, in a bar, cafe. I can go with her or with him to meet the man of the bank if she asks me. Diversity and continuous innovation. We always try to put together different background to offer a full range of services and an answer to every needs, a full support to people, and of course to do this, because every one of us has a specific expertise. To do this, you have to be very, very well connected with the local network, of course, because in some cases, migrants or women have other kind of life problems, we can say. And we work a lot on empowerment and awareness, because you have to become an entrepreneur. You have to choose this direction of your life and to transform and to become. So the secret ingredient, and I'm joking because there's no secret ingredient, except the fact that you have to you have to work with people. You have to put the person and her needs or his needs at the center of your work. Just doing this, you can deal with fragile profile, women or migrants or NEET or other kind of target. And that's really my conclusion. Thank you.
1 2 1 2 1 2 2 2 2 2. One two one two 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 two. Yep.
vraag om mee te beginnen?
Wacht, hè. Oh, vandaag. Ja, waarom vrouwen? Ik vind wel work-life balance wat altijd voor vrouwen.
Ah ja, dat is een goeie, ja.
zijn de mannen.
Dat is een goeie beetje, ja, ambetant. Okay, are we complete? There's still some room here, right, if you want. Oh, and there. Hm?
Haar verhaal is wel interessant. Als je niet met Gucci of zo werken. Maar van, ze heeft een coworking spaces. Hoe werkt ze dan samen met bedrijven? Want die bedrijf stuurt toch niet die mensen naar die coworking spaces. Hoe zit dat?
Ook nog een goeie. Dat moet jij vragen. Okay, please come close, come close. We have some chairs over there, so we can. So the people at home can see you. All your colleagues who are watching the live stream. The whole of Europe is watching you. Hello, Europe. Can we have the votes from Italy now, please? Okay. Okay, so still some place here. If you want the microphone, the other mic. Ah, okay. So the microphones are here, here, and there. There. So welcome. Okay, time for looking back and looking back and asking all the questions that were in your head and sharing experiences, sharing idea. Anybody wants to kick off? Anybody has a question, a burning question, an idea? I was wondering. We were talking about where was it? Here. Yeah, work-life balance and or especially oriented at women. Why not work-life balance for men?
Gender opportunities. Gender opportunities. But if you follow the few slides I presented to you, you discover that there's no special methodology for women. So this is perfect, equal opportunities. You just have to deal with person. And every person is different. Every needs is different. And you have to work all around the person. Male, female, young, old, 90, it's the same. So, according to me, I don't know if the other agree with this, or maybe women are different. I'm not speaking about the moment, the particular moment of your life, of course. But I don't know if the other think that female entrepreneur has to be dealt in a different way. Provocation.
From personal experience, I have the experience that women are more risk averse and men are more risk taking. But I'm not sure if I can generalize this.
I just would like to add something that as I told you, represent a micro enterprise, and we are 4 women. We have external junior experts, which are women. But we don't select them. Depends on the gender now. So I don't know, but maybe face.
Experiences with difference between men and women. From my side, I also, if you look at the reality of all the incubators, all the accelerators, all the investment files that have been presented, if I look at what we get in from entrepreneurs, I think we don't select men or women, we just select what we think is interesting. We had 1 out of 30, out of 50, out of 100 even, female entrepreneurs coming to present. Maybe if you look at our investments, we have 1 in 10. So it's probably 2 in 100, but it's 1 that we did not invest in. So there is it's not our choice, but it is a reality that there is a difference in. Yeah. So what are your experiences with that? Do you have specific some of you have specific, obviously. Are there any other specific programs or activities that are specifically directed at women? Maybe that's
In Poland, we have one of the women accelerator, strictly directly just for women. And after 1 year of existing this accelerator, the women treated that they have to be open for the men also. So there is a why I'm thinking that the gender should be. We have to be concentrated on the people, on the individual person, not on the women or men. As I said before, I think is equal.
You take the. No, I fully agree. I think it's a good. You take the microphone, please. There was some.
We also have developed a program to promote women entrepreneurship, specific for women. Some of the activities were common with common services for entrepreneurship promotion. Some others were specific only for women, like specific mentoring. Well, more time for mentoring women, and also some workshop oriented only for women. We don't. That is one of the programs developed oriented for women. But nowadays we have a result, a percentage very equal between women. Even there are more women entrepreneurs in our records. In the one-stop shop, there are more women than men opening new companies.
Okay.
And
Good.
Yeah, slightly above.
Okay.
I think in supporting entrepreneurship, women need, like every individual, they have their special problems and you have to solve and help them. I'm not. I don't think that you need special programs for women. It's my personal opinion. Because they have the market, and the market is men and women, and so. But I think that women are communicating a little bit other compared to men, and that's why we have in Germany some networks of women, entrepreneurial women. That and I discussed with them. Say, why don't you take men in your network? And they say, if we are 100% women and talking to each other, we are talking other as compared to then if there were some men in our. They are talking more open, and the communication is other. If you are only women together and have your own network, this works very good. And they say it's good that we have it. We have our own network, and if we would take some men in this network, the communication would be another. I think it's the same if you have a man network, they are talking maybe other, if there are some women between, I don't know, but there's probably in communication and work together there, you have different styles. I think so. So that I think, and they are very happy about to have this network to solve the problems. They cooperate very strong.
We organize cooperation between student companies and fabrication labs in universities, but the fabrication labs are for boys and girls, and we have an offer for the girls in a security lab. It's only for girls.
Interesting that there are initiatives. I think obviously because of this discrepancy, but we tend to, apparently everybody kind of agrees that in the end it should be. I mean, there should be no difference because it's.
However, we need to consider that there is a period of the life where,
Yes.
for most of the women, not for all of them, but for most of them, in which things necessarily change, and this can be a flow, but also can be an enrichment, an empowerment for the company or for the situation if they can deal with it. The problem is that most of the company are not. Still ready for dealing with this changement in the proper way, because we think that the woman develops a new soft skills when she becomes a mom. She develops how to manage with and handle many things together. So this could be a positive aspect to be put back to work. But still is seen as no, she has no time, no, she has no longer time, she is not available like she was before, instead of working together on a possible solution that would reach not only the woman but also the company. This is what I think.
Okay. Okay, take the strong point.
I think the problem is not about women or men, but about childcare services. This is the real problem, at least for us in Italy. This is the lack of services like yours, which is special and perfect. And so that's why women are at the low number of the statistical, but it's a problem of services, public or private.
What I was wondering of your initiative, you said yes, we have now cooperation with what is Gucci, or I don't.
Gucci,
yes,
yes.
but I understood you have a co-working space for yes, for women or for people. But for Gucci, are they attracting your mentoring about all the services I saw on your slide, and you give it to the company Gucci, or are they the people from Gucci coming to your co-working space? It's not clear for me how the cooperation is.
It's not clear for us too at the moment because we just started. No, I'm joking, but yes, what we proposed to Gucci at the beginning, but also to other companies, was like the fact of having this maternity, facultative maternity leave spent in a co-working space. This means that instead of staying out of the office for a long, long time, a woman can be back at work, even if it's she is in another space where where she can find some people who help her in doing this. So she's back. She has the possibility of knowing and meeting other people, having a training, so being more updated without leaving for a too long time, quitting the job for a too long time. For the moment, this is a thing that we don't know if we will be able to do it in this moment, because not all the roles in a company can benefit of such a service. There are some roles that for sure they have to be done in the office. They cannot be moved somewhere else. So this will be like allowing some women to do this and some others not. So this is a problem. For the moment, what we offer and what Gucci accepted to use of the services we provide is all the work-life balance services that we offer. So they will pay for some benefits for their employees when they come to Spazio Costanza. So the service of the psychologists, this parental tutoring that we offer, but also other activities, like for example we do yoga for pregnant women, or Pilates, or English courses. So they are using all these other services.
I have 2 teenagers at home now, and one is we are struggling with. So I would be more than happy if my employer gives services how I can handle a difficult teenager. So I think you have we say a hat in the market.
A hole in the market.
Oh, I think there is a lot of potential. I think because it's not only babies in Belgium. We are happy. I think to have a lot of services where your child can go to. But it's not only when they are baby. I think when they are growing up, you have other problems. And yes, I would be more than happy if my employer gives. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's yes. It can be very worthwhile.
You have to move to Italy.
Yes, I think so.
We want to hear. You want to hear, Julie?
I was actually wondering, are you specifically focused on parents that already have children that come to you and because they want the added service, or do you also like parents with just children that would be interested in entrepreneurship, but they think that it would be too difficult for them because they have children? So do you kind of convince them also to start a business and to come to you?
It can be both things. Yes, both things. As I was saying, we also work like a sort of incubator of micro projects, because these are projects that can be done inside Spazio Costanza, for example, and can be developed there. related also to the activities and the services we provide. So, for example, there can be, I say, an English teacher who doesn't know because she has her children, she doesn't have enough money for renting a room. So we work together with her in making like sort of package. We already have many, we are very strong in communication at the moment, so we can help us in find her users, her students, and give her a space at a lower price. So it's both things. So.
Okay. Anyone else has things or remarks, ideas, questions about women as a special interest group or as a not special interest group, as you were saying, as a group with a lot of opportunities. Yeah, I'm treading carefully now.
Quite dangerous.
Just trying to be careful. Okay, another question I picked up from Monica was different types of education. Also, people with a humanistic background and how they do in the entrepreneurial space, because it's relatively easy for engineers, anybody doing software. It's relatively easy for anybody in, let's say, marketing, business, all those kind of things. That's all. That's humanistic normally, but maybe you can just explain a bit the problem.
Yeah, as you can say that very easy to find the work after the education connected with the technology, ITs or economy, some kind of finance, marketing, and so on. But right now on the technology speed up market, I think we have to also some huge potential under the humanist and the soft skills people, frankly speaking. And right now we are trying to adopt them to the new condition of the market. We are just opening some kind of new way for them based also on the technology, because they, of course, they define the way to do it. They could be the very brilliant analysis, testing of connected with the social publication and so on. So many things to do it for them. They don't be treated like a pizza delivery or something like that, Uber driver. And we trying to find the best way for this solution, because it's quite new on the market, especially in the Poland. I think it's rather connected with the other markets also, because the trend is, I think the business trend is similar on the whole world. We have a huge partners like a Microsoft, technology partners, so we are exchange the experience between them and our side, that we want to educate as well as we can for this generation and next generation, because it's very basic. They try to find this way in the new market, but I really don't know, because is a like kind of experience of our educational model. How can we do it? Maybe you have some kind of experience working on this subject.
Anybody experience on this subject?
Any ideas?
Ideas,
because
yeah.
it's quite a new model, really.
Yeah. I know that in Belgium, historians tend to be very good CEOs, people who studied history.
We have the same with the philosophy.
History. People who studied history are, well...
Becoming mayor.
Yeah, well... Okay, I'm not saying anything about it. Either they become mayor or they run a company. No, it's as CEOs, as company CEOs, they apparently... Because, well, and it's what they say, or what some people say, is because they have analyzed... I mean, they are used to analyzing or looking at complex history and the consequences of things that happen, time, and that's something you need also as an entrepreneur. So, but I don't know if that's just a story, at least, that it goes around in Belgium. But then, I mean, do you have entrepreneurs have maybe examples of entrepreneurs that have a really humanistic background, let's say? what types of jobs or what types of?
I cannot now remember specific companies, but we have had many entrepreneurs incubated with us, which come from humanities, and not only. Well, of course, we have had also companies dealing with linguistic and translation activities, for instance. But I'm not talking about that. For instance, the language of the virtual robots, for instance. There were people who were engineers, but other people who were people working the linguistic from the humanities, from languages. So we have had many different. There are many examples of entrepreneurs, but that was one example, and that company was even very successful because and now that company was incubated in one of the municipality of Seville incubators, and it was sold to IBM, for instance. So and the manager was from the linguistic and humanities studies, as an example. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, there's an entrepreneur next door having a meeting there, and he's a historian, so I know him. Well, he started studying history, but he quit. But anyway. Any other? Yeah. Actually, my opinion. I have the feeling we need more. We need, well, not less engineers, but we need more people with a non-engineerial background, because building the right software, that maybe was version 1 of the startup ecosystem. Now building software that people actually use, and there obviously already exist some of those, but the times when we were seeing startups saying, or entrepreneurs, I am building an app, well, that's kind of gone now. You have to solve real solutions for real people, and to do that you need to know how people think, how people live. So there is definitely an opportunity, I think.
I think with nudging, also motivating people to change their behavior. I think it's also, we need a lot of people with soft skills, with insights in human behavior, etc. So.
Any other remarks, people thinking about that? No? Any other specific questions that have arisen through the 3 interesting speeches about? Hmm?
Yeah, just to add on the previous subject, we definitely agree in Antwerp, at least, that we or at least we see startups have a lot of difficulty in finding the right employees. So especially startups that are really technical, really digital, and focused on digital product development. So that's why in the University of Antwerp, together with other universities on a Flemish regional level, we are now working on it's specific for the Internet of Things, but we're focused on a postgraduate course that combines technical skills with business developmental skills, because we have seen that a lot of engineers just leaving the university with only technical skills. They don't have the right mindset to actually build a company, or to be able to start up a business and do the accounting themselves as well. So that's just an interesting use case. Maybe I'm not sure if there might be other universities that do something similar, like technical plus business-minded application in their postgraduate or master courses. But it's something to take away.
I also wanted to make a comment about the gender issue. So a few weeks ago, I don't know how in your countries do you still celebrate the International Women's Day. So for some reason it's a really big thing in Estonia, although it sort of has this Soviet connotation to it. But I was actually amazed to see how, especially in Estonian startups, they celebrate it big time, and all the women, the minority of women in the startups get showered with flowers on that very day. But also on the same day, I think every year on the International Women's Day, the Eurostat publishes the numbers of the pay gap in the EU. And well, unfortunately, Estonia is always on top of that list. So we have the biggest pay gap in Europe. So women earn 25% less than men do for the same jobs. And we actually had this discussion last week. There's this organization called Tech Sisters, which supports women to become more active in ICT. And actually the number is now is 29% of people employed in the ICT sector in Estonia are women, which has gone up a bit since a few years ago when they did the last survey. But again, in my job, I see like on the ground level, there's like equal numbers of boys and girls in the robotics classes and whatnot. And at some point, obviously, girls drop out because their parents, their teachers, everybody will keep telling them that, you know, well, this is not for you. You should do some more girly stuff. Like there was a case in one school that was applying for some grant funds and said that we would like to get this money for doing the programming class for boys, and at the same time the girls will practice their modeling walk. So the same money was supposed to cover, because this is obviously the girly stuff. And so yeah, the girls have to work twice as hard in order to stay on that path if they decide to for some reason. And again, this is something that that's quite slow to change. And actually, when you mentioned the numbers about the women in Italy who drop out of the job market after they have kids, then this again probably explains why. So I think Estonian women probably have one of the highest employment rates, but also at the same time we have the one of the longest maternity leaves, fully paid by the state, so 1.5 years, which again keeps women away from their jobs, and they lose their qualifications. And once they go back, there's also statistics to support that when the longer you've been away from the job market, the less you will be be willing to ask as a compensation for your work. So that again, this explains the pay gap. So it's all like a vicious cycle. So I don't know what's the way out. So probably time will solve all these issues.
I don't fully agree with that, because in Italy we have perhaps the shortest time of maternity leave. It's around 5 months, 6 months, yeah? Fully paid, but yeah. So let's say it's less than a year. And in any case, it's very difficult for the women to go back to the work. Perhaps it's more the culture of our entrepreneurs that if a woman has had children, so she will be focused on the
it's called
children
the mother bias.
Than rather than in his job. But perhaps, as I was reading also in the last days, perhaps a woman after the maternity is much more, how to say, has more soft skills than perhaps she had before, because life it's constraining women to build these soft skills after the maternity.
But at the same time, they become so much more efficient because they have
that's yeah. So entrepreneurs are not aware about this. So
So no. It was what I was saying before. It's the same words I used before. I think the matter is finding a balance between the things, both in the mentality of entrepreneurs, but of women too, because we also are raising up like thinking that after we become moms, then necessarily we have to change our style of life, and possibly we are going to lose our position at work. So it's my okay, perfetto. Should I repeat? Okay. So it's a long way to the objective, but I think we are on the right way. I hope so.
I think in Belgium we have only 3 months of staying. We are staying away for a child, so I think 4 months was little, but 3 months is still less. I think it's enough personally, but but I think what it's a growing complexity also in society is that we in Belgium there is a lot of things to do that we have to work longer. So our pensions are too expensive, so we'll have to work till 67.
At least 70.
Yeah, yeah. So it's you have your child, but also you have to work till you're 67, and you are becoming more expensive for the employer. So it's an increasing complexity because you have to keep up after you get children, but you also have to keep up because you're becoming more expensive, and there are young colleagues coming in who are also competent. So I think the complexity is larger than just the motherhood, I think.
Can I ask a question? I don't know. You have the option in your countries to be the woman and the man to do the absence, or no?
Because we give birth to the child, it's automatically the woman who
1
gets
month, right?
3 months.
3 months.
3 months.
Because
But as a father, you can also take parenthood. Yeah. So, yeah. But but you don't have to. The woman does it automatically because she gives birth, and the father can do it, but it's a your employer must agree. So
yes, because in Portugal you have that option. It's not become an option some years ago, and there's a lot of fathers. The woman takes 1 month, and the fathers take the other 5. So that was my question. I think this is not just an issue for you women; it's all an issue for men. Okay, so.
Estonia is the same, but I think only 12% of men use it. Yeah. Because again, down to the pay gap, so it's not doesn't pay off for them to stay home because they earn more.
Okay, having children and entrepreneurship is a daunting task, apparently. Any other subjects we want to tackle? We still have a few more minutes. We don't have to. We can talk among each other as well, obviously. But is anybody who wants to throw something in the group? Complete silence. Silence. Okay. Okay. Well, let's.
Just one more.
One more.
I had a question for the gym initiative. I was just wondering, is it mainly like people with ideas that come to you, or is it mainly research that is on the shelf somewhere, like university research, which is used for new companies?
Many students of the last years and sorry. The most were students of the last years and graduates, not researchers, because the researchers are with the professor are already involved in the spin-off, and they are focused on a services or product, and they really need to do something like this. But they are already working on something without thinking about the market or on the product or the services. So we have many students of the last year and graduates with their ideas or not. They are not obliged because we help them to generate new ideas using other cases and creativity.
Okay. Anybody else wants to add something? No? Yes? Okay. It's the end of the day. We're all getting tired. I can see that happening. We still have a bit of a program ahead of us. Now, I propose we go on with the next step. Julie, if you agree. Bos. We gaan de split doen nu. Of gaan we een kwartier pauze? Okay, we'll take a 15-minute break. Another break, and then we will split up. So that's the important part now. We'll split up. There's a meeting room reserved over there for the steering committee, right? And I guess if you're in the steering committee, you know that you're in the steering committee. The rest can come here. we'll have another opportunity to discuss, talk. We'll see. I mean, with that group, we will decide among us how we're going to fill in that time. We still have 2 hours until the bus leaves. So, I mean, but we'll see among us here how we can fill that in, whether we still want to discuss specific topics. But let's first take the 15-minute break, and then at 4:30, part of you goes over there, and the rest comes here. Okay? Okay. So the steering committee here, stakeholder next door, and we'll decide there what we do. We have a meeting room if we want to.
Those from the steering committee who wants to go for a walk around the block for 10 minutes, maybe can join and have a fresh air before we go for steering committee.
The other ones, I have a secret agenda for those who are not in the steering committee. We may go for a longer walk. So.
And a pintje zeker.
Who knows, a beer.